Welcome back to the channel. We are taking another trip down the in-car video memory lane. So if you didn't watch the last video, I've got a couple of videos in process. They're not going that well, and so I need to fill a little bit of time, and I thought I would go to my old YouTube channel, which is just under my name, and pull some of that video across, because I'm sure none of you have seen it. And today we have an extra special treat. I think it's really going to fill you in a little bit on about who I am and how I got here. So today I've got video from the ancient times of 2015, where I was driving, it's like a 95 Mazda Protege, something like that, a 93, 95 Mazda Protege, something like that, real boxy, lots of square angles, pretty cool car. This car was actually a really highly developed ITA car with a lot of custom parts on it that were all older than I was at the time, almost for sure. The story is some friends pulled this car out of the woods. They were going to go chump racing with it. And we got to this weekend and they had been working on it, they got it running, and they were kind of like, we just need someone to drive this thing. We've got this other stuff going on. We just put some laps on it and tell us how it is. And I went, screw it. Yeah, I'll drive that thing. Never seen it before. Friday night was the first time I sat in the thing. It didn't have an RPM gauge because they could not get that figured out before the race started. And so I'm driving about as blind as someone can drive. A few other features of this car are the cracked windshield banner that you can see up here. That's a piece of vinyl of some kind that is cracking and shrinking because this car's been sitting in somebody's backyard for who knows how long. You can see that in the video. Where the RPM gauge should be in the dash is just empty. The gauge cluster is just gone. I don't remember what that was about, but I had oil pressure and have water temperature on those two gauges, and that's what I had. That was the whole thing. You can also hear it. You can hear it when it shifts. When I shift into fifth, car falls on its face. It will not. It can't push through the aero load. It makes no horsepower. It was a hilarious car to drive. And we know that car is not particularly aerodynamic or fast in a straight line because a buddy of mine has a currently properly prepped ITA car. It's a really good car, really fast driver. And he gets to about 100 miles an hour and the car just stops. It will not go anymore. So it's just a couple of funny things about this car. It was a good time. Now, I don't remember a ton about that car, but I remember being impressed with a few different things. One, handling and braking was really pretty nice when compared against all the other stuff that I've driven up to this point. It handled really well and stopped on a dime. It stopped on a dime probably because it made no power and also weighed nothing. So maybe that's got something to do with it. I'm not sure. But it was a really fun car to drive. I had a super fun start. I started dead last, and turns out the starter, one, can't see you when you're back there, and two, doesn't really care what you're doing while you're back there. So we had a really great start. And from that point on, kind of just turned into turn some laps, push the car as much as you can with no RPM gauge, and hope for the best. I was told that it had a rev limiter. I think I remember being told it had a rev limiter. I don't know. You can see me exploring the car, checking it out, going a little harder here, a little harder there. It's a good time. So let's jump right straight into the video, and I'm working on another trip down memory lane that is going to be really good. So let's watch this for now, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.